The auction on Xarxus Prime. The air was thick and hot. It smelled like burning wires and fear. Strange creatures whispered in alien tongues. Some laughed. Some cried. But all eyes were fixed on the cages. Captain Jackson Reeves stood near the back, arms crossed, jaw tight. He hated this place. He hated this so-called reward. Jackson wasn't just any man. He was a human war hero. Earth had only recently joined the Galactic Union after a bloody war against the Zareth Hive. And Jackson, he led the charge. Brave, brilliant, broken inside. As a thank you from the Union Council, he had been invited to Xarxus Prime, a planet of power, politics, and shadows. Today they gave him a gift, not a medal, not money. But this, a slave. They called it tradition. Presenting Lot 98, the auctioneer shouted, his voice echoing through the metal hall. A rare Class X bioform, humanoid female, unknown species, believed extinct, completely obedient. The crowd leaned forward. From the shadows, two guards wheeled in a tall cage. And inside, sitting perfectly still, was her. She wasn't like the others. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. Her skin was smooth, a shade between silver and blue. Her eyes, bright violet, stared through the bars. Not at the crowd, not at the floor, but directly at Jackson. He felt a chill run down his spine. The auctioneer smiled at him. For Captain Reeve, war hero of Earth, the council has arranged something special. The cage stopped right in front of him. She stood now, slowly, like she had all the time in the universe. Tall, proud, silent. Jackson looked at the creature. No, the woman. Her hands were bound in front of her, but there was no fear in her eyes. Only fire. This is wrong. Jackson muttered. Tradition, said the union representative beside him. It's only symbolic. You don't have to use her. That made it worse. A slave, even a gift one, was still a slave. But Earth was new here. They couldn't afford to make enemies. He nodded reluctantly. Fine. I'll take her. Just as he turned to leave, a soft voice, smooth as silk but cold as space, spoke from the cage. They think I'm harmless, but if I wanted, I could destroy every last one of you. Jackson froze. He turned slowly to face her. She hadn't moved, still staring at him. Her mouth hadn't even opened. She spoke in perfect English. The guards hadn't heard. They were already preparing the next item. But Jackson had heard it clear as day, and he wasn't sure if she had actually spoken out loud, or if it was something else. He walked closer to the bars. Who are you? She didn't reply. Do you know my language? He asked, still silent. But a tiny smirk played on her lips. That's when he noticed something else. Her collar. It had tiny lights blinking in a strange pattern, tech beyond anything he'd seen. Not for control. Maybe monitoring? The union rep handed him a small device. This is the remote, controls her collar, shocks, commands, basic functions. Don't worry, she's docile. Jackson didn't take it. I'll manage without it, he said. The rep looked confused. But sir, it's standard protocol. I said I'll manage. Inside his private ship, Jackson stood near the doorway while the woman sat on the floor of her room. He had refused to chain her. He even unlocked her wrists. She rubbed them slowly, watching him. What's your name? He asked. No answer. You understood me before. I know you did. Still nothing. Fine, I'll call you Mystery. At that, she raised one brow. Then finally, she spoke, softly this time, but with a strange accent. Lyra. Lyra, he repeated. They stared at each other in silence. He didn't know why, but something about her felt off. Not dangerous, yet, but definitely not normal. She didn't act like a slave. She didn't beg, didn't thank him, didn't even seem to care where she was. She just watched him, studied him, like he was the one in a cage. Later that night, as Jackson sat at the controls of his ship, He kept looking at the security feed. Lyra hadn't moved, just sat there staring at the wall. He zoomed in. Her fingers were drawing something in the dust on the floor, a strange symbol, glowing faintly. He didn't know what it meant, but he had a feeling. This gift wasn't a reward, it was a trap, or maybe a test, and he was already caught in it. The woman from the stars, the ship moved through deep space like a ghost, silent, smooth, and alone. Captain Jackson Reeve leaned back in his chair, eyes red from lack of sleep. The stars outside were calm, but his thoughts were not. The image of that alien woman, Lyra, haunted him. She wasn't like the others. Not afraid, not angry, not even curious. She was calculating. She sat in the guest quarters, barely moving for hours. But when she did move, it was like watching a wild animal that had learned how to fake being tame. Jackson had faced beasts, warlords, even planetary-level AI. But this woman, she was something else. Hours passed. Jackson was running diagnostics on the ship when he noticed something strange. The security feed to Lyra's room kept glitching. Only her room. Every time she turned to face the camera, the screen fuzzed out. For a second, then cleared up, like she was shorting it with just a glance. Impossible. But there it was. He walked down the metallic hallway and stopped at her door. It opened with a soft whoosh. She was standing now, hands behind her back, staring at the stars outside the window. "I didn't touch anything," she said before he could even speak. "I didn't ask," he replied. "You were going to." He paused. "You always read people this easily?" She tilted her head. "Only the noisy ones." "I'm not noisy." She smiled slightly. "Your mind is screaming." He stepped inside and leaned against the wall. "What are you?" "Alive. And currently, unchained." "You were speaking English at the auction. I've heard enough languages to understand most of them. Yours is easy, full of shortcuts, like your species." He raised an eyebrow. "You think humans are simple?" "I think humans are scared, and fear makes you dangerous." Suddenly, a warning light blinked on the wall console. Proximity alert. Jackson rushed to the control panel. What the hell? A small black drone had attached itself to the ship's hull. It had no ID signal, no origin, no known design. "Tracker," he muttered, but before he could act, Lyra stepped forward and placed one hand on the screen. The drone exploded outside. No sound in space, but the flash was clear. "What did you do?" he asked. "I told it to stop." "With your mind?" "With my history." He stared at her. That's when she walked closer, way too close, and whispered, "You should be asking yourself why someone sent it, and why they're so desperate to find me." Back in the command room, Jackson scanned the blast debris. The drone was using Union tech, top secret military grade. But it wasn't tracking him, it was tracking her. Jackson accessed the collar's interface. Hidden deep inside the files was an encrypted data log. It wasn't just for controlling her, it was transmitting, sending out a signal every few hours. Lyra was a beacon. Someone had been following her this whole time. He disabled the signal, wiped the system, and dropped the device onto the table. He turned to her. "You knew. That thing on your neck, it's a tracker." "I assumed," she said calmly. "Why didn't you say anything?" "Would you have believed me?" "Maybe." "Liar." He grunted. "Why are they following you, Lyra? What are you running from?" She looked at him, eyes suddenly heavy with something that might have been sadness or guilt. "I'm not running from something," she said. "I'm running from becoming something." That night, Jackson sat on his bunk, staring at the ceiling. Lyra's words bounced around his head like a ricochet. Running from becoming something? What the hell did that mean? He got up and pulled up a Union classified database. Searched for humanoid species marked extinct, with abilities that affected tech. Only one result came up. The Varelians, wiped out centuries ago. Rumored to be biosynthetic hybrids, part organic, part machine, able to interface with technology by thought. Some called them weapons, some called them gods, and their last known location? A planet destroyed by a Union orbital strike. Lyra wasn't just a lost species, she was a survivor of a massacre. Suddenly, the ship lights flickered. Jackson jumped to his feet. In the hallway, Lyra stood in front of a wall panel, hand pressed flat against it. "What are you doing?" "Fixing your fuel regulator." "You're using your powers." She turned slowly. "No, I'm using your tech. I'm just better at it." "You're not just some girl in a cage." "No," she said. "I'm not." The tension grew thick. He should have turned her in. Every rule said she was a threat, a walking anomaly. Maybe even a weapon. But when she looked at him now, there wasn't a trace of violence in her eyes, just something familiar. Loneliness. Jackson finally spoke. "You could have killed me, disabled my ship, taken off." Lyra nodded. "But you didn't." She shrugged. "You gave me a choice. No one's done that in a very long time." And then she said something so quiet, he almost missed it. "I'm tired of being someone else's monster." The rules of being free. The stars outside shimmered like frozen fireflies, but inside the ship things were anything but calm. Captain Jackson Reeves stood in the galley, arms crossed, eyes locked on the black coffee steaming in his mug like it might suddenly offer him wisdom. Across the room, Lyra sat silently, one leg folded beneath her, staring at the holographic window. The ship's AI had recreated a view of her homeworld, what little was left of it in the Union's archives. A lifeless, cratered planet, once green, now just dust and death. Jackson didn't say anything. He just placed a second cup of coffee in front of her. She looked at it, then at him. "You still don't trust me," she said. "I don't trust myself," he replied. "I think that's worse." They sat in silence for a while, the kind of silence that says more than any words. Then she spoke. Quiet. Careful. "There was a time," she said, "when my people believed emotions made us weak. That love, connection, could corrupt logic. And did it? It saved us. Then it killed us." Jackson leaned forward. "What do you mean?" She didn't answer. Instead, she reached out and traced her finger along the hologram. A bright blue sea appeared in her wake. Then trees, cities, laughing faces. "My memories," she whispered. "What little I have left." He stared at the images, a child, a woman, a tower of light that stretched into the sky. "Who are they?" he asked. "People I should remember. But I don't. They wiped us clean. I only remember what I hated enough to hold on to." He looked at her, really looked at her. "You were never a slave, were you?" "No," she said. "But I've worn the collar long enough to forget what it felt like to be anything else." Later that day, the ship received a faint signal. A distress beacon, Union-coded, coming from a nearby moon. Too faint, too convenient. Jackson's instincts screamed trap, but the law required him to investigate. Lyra followed him to the cockpit. "You're not going down there alone," she said. "I don't bring guests to active fire zones," he replied. "I'm not a guest." He stared at her. "What are you then?" She looked away. The moon was quiet. Too quiet. No signs of a crash, no damaged ship, just dust, wind, and a low static hum. Until they found the outpost, abandoned. Recently, still warm generators, and one body, burned clean to the bone. On the wall, scrawled in what looked like blood and ash, were 3 words in perfect English. "She is awakening." Jackson turned to Lyra, but she was frozen, eyes wide, trembling. "I know this place," she whispered. "This was where they tested us." Tested? She walked to a panel and opened it with a wave of her hand. Inside, a small spherical device, still active, still watching. Lyra stared at it, then crushed it in her palm. "No more ghosts," she muttered. Back on the ship, Jackson ran a full scan. Lyra was showing increased neural activity. Off the charts. Something had triggered it. Her powers were growing, and with that, so was the risk. "You need to tell me everything," he said, standing in the middle of the room like a man holding a loaded weapon with no safety. She sat on the floor, her voice flat. "I was designed, half organic, half machine. My mind is code, but my soul, if I have one, is fractured. They made hundreds like me. Then they got scared. Shut us down. I'm the last." "Why you?" "I learned how to hide." Jackson paced. "The Union knew. They gave you to me like a pet, but they were really sending me a bomb." She looked up, her expression hard. "Not a bomb. A witness. They want me gone, but they can't kill me directly. So they gave me to someone with just enough guilt to make a mistake." "Is that what you think I am? A mistake?" She stood, walking slowly toward him. "I think you're a man who wants to do the right thing, even if he doesn't know what that is anymore." They were close now. Inches. Jackson stared down at her. "And what if the right thing is turning you in?" She didn't flinch. "Then I hope you at least kiss me before you do it." Silence. Then, he kissed her, but peace never lasts. As the ship entered its next sector, a Union frigate dropped out of hyperspace in front of them. "Unregistered anomaly detected aboard your ship," said the officer on the comm. "Prepare to be boarded." Lyra stepped beside him. "They won't let you talk them down." "I'm not going to try." As the ship prepared for combat, Lyra placed a hand on his chest. "You gave me a choice," she said. "Let me give you one now. I can stop them." "But you won't like how." "What do you mean?" She didn't answer. Instead, her eyes flickered with electric light. The ship's lights dimmed. Systems blinked. The engines roared without touch. Jackson had one last thought before the chaos began. "I don't know if I'm flying this ship anymore, or if she is." The truth in her blood. The stars outside blurred into long white streaks as the ship leapt into hyperspace, fleeing the Union patrol. Captain Jackson Reeves stood frozen at the helm, his hand hovering over the controls. Controls that weren't even responding anymore. "Are you flying this ship?" he asked, eyes locked on the woman beside him. Lyra's hands weren't on the controls. Her eyes glowed faintly. And the ship, his ship, was moving like it had a mind of its own. "Not flying," she said softly. "Guiding. The ship listens. Better when I don't use words." That should have scared him, but strangely it didn't. When they were clear of danger, Lyra slumped into the co-pilot seat. Sweat glistened on her forehead. Her hands shook. "You okay?" Jackson asked. She nodded, slowly. "It's getting harder. The more I use it, the more I lose myself." "Lose yourself how?" She looked at him with tired eyes. "There's something else inside me. A voice. It whispers things I used to ignore. Now it's getting louder." Later, in the medbay, Jackson scanned her blood. He wasn't a scientist, but the readings made his skin crawl. Her cells weren't normal. They weren't even alien in the traditional sense. They were adaptive, constantly shifting, as if rewriting themselves based on her surroundings. A living supercode. "Your DNA," he said, "isn't just biology. It's a machine." She sat quietly, then whispered, "I wasn't just made to survive. I was made to evolve." Jackson needed answers, not theories, not ghost stories. So he took them to the one man who might know. Dr. Cor Vanto, an exiled Union scientist now hiding in a dead station orbiting a brown dwarf star. Vanto was mad, but genius mad, the kind who talks to his coffee but also invented gravity manipulation on a bet. They docked under blackout. As soon as Vanto saw Lyra, he froze. His pale skin went paler. "You brought one of them here?" he gasped. "You know what she is?" Jackson asked. Vanto nodded. "Oh, I know, we all knew, but we thought they were extinct." Lyra stayed silent. Vanto pulled up an old Union file, so old it was nearly erased. A black project named Syndra. A bioweapon program, he explained. They weren't making soldiers, they were making gods. The idea was terrifying. Build a being who could learn, adapt, control technology, even predict war before it started. But it went wrong. They evolved too fast, Vanto said. Started questioning orders, started feeling. The Union panicked, wiped them out. But if even one survived, he looked at Lyra with pure fear. She's not just rare, she's a keystone, a genetic library. If the wrong hands get her blood, they could restart the program. Jackson leaned forward. Then why give her to me? Vanto frowned. Because someone inside the Union wants this program to come back, and they're using you to do it. That night, as they prepared to leave, the station Jackson found Lyra alone in the cargo bay. She was holding a small vial, her own blood. You heard him? She said. I'm a blueprint, nothing more. No, Jackson replied. You're more than that. She smiled, bitter. You kissed a weapon, Captain. You're not a weapon, he said softly. You're someone who was used like one. She turned, tears in her eyes. And if I become one again? He stepped closer. Then I'll remind you who you are. But their conversation was cut short. Vanto's station exploded. A stealth drone had followed them. Someone knew they were there. And they were done hiding. Back on the ship, systems failed one by one. Lyra collapsed, her body convulsing. Her DNA was reacting, fighting back against something. Jackson scanned her. Something foreign had entered her bloodstream. A trigger. A kill switch. Buried code now activated. Someone had infected her long ago, and it had been waiting. She was dying, or changing. The AI voice crackled through the ship. Warning, unauthorized override. Core systems compromised. Then, a message played. Garbled but clear enough. Project Syndra. Initiate Phase 2. Jackson stared at the screen. Phase 2? Lyra opened her eyes. They weren't violet anymore. They were black. Escape from Atlas Station. The lights on the ship flickered like they were trying to blink out of existence. Jackson held Lyra's body in his arms as she convulsed, her skin glowing faintly beneath the surface. Pale blue veins pulsing like electric wires. Project Syndra. Phase 2. Activated. The word still echoed across the cockpit like a curse from the past. He laid her down gently in the medbay. Her eyes were wide, pupils stretching unnaturally, pupils shifting like data packets trying to organize themselves. Stay with me, he whispered. Lyra's voice was distant. I can't stop it. It's rewriting me. What is? She gripped his hand. Me. Meanwhile, a Union signal burst across the sector. A bounty alert. Code black. Subject. Lyra 0. Status. Active bioweapon reward. Unlimited orders. Recover or destroy. The Union wasn't hiding anymore. They wanted her found. And they wanted her erased. Jackson needed help. Fast. He rerouted the ship to a shadow port known as Atlas Station, buried in an asteroid field. It wasn't on any official chart, but every outlaw, smuggler, and ex-spy knew of it, a place to vanish, repair, or restart. He carried Lyra in his arms, her body still burning with heat, energy spiraling inside her like a storm, looking for a sky. Atlas Station was chaos wrapped in neon. No law, just rules, and those were written in plasma. He found an old contact, Hedra Venn, an ex-military doctor who owed Jackson more favors than she could count. Hedra took one look at Lyra and backed up like she'd seen a ghost. That's a Virelian, she hissed. Help her. You don't help a storm, Jax, you run. She's not a weapon. No, Hedra said grimly. She's worse. She's thinking about it. Lyra floated between consciousness and code. She saw flashes, memories. Not her own, people screaming, fire raining from orbit, scientists cheering, children hiding. A voice whispered in her mind. You were not made to feel. You were made to win, she screamed inside her own head. And outside, systems shorted, monitors exploded. The power of something ancient was waking up. At the same time, a figure entered Atlas Station, tall, scarred, mechanical arm hissing softly with each step. Talon Graves, bounty hunter, Union's black glove problem solver, the man who once put down an entire rebel moon with one bullet and a broadcast. He wasn't here for the credits. He was here because Lyra had once saved the life of a child he'd been ordered to kill. Now the Union said she was dangerous, and Talon? Talon had a habit of hating orders. Back in the medbay, Jackson watched Lyra sleep, though she didn't look peaceful. He noticed the vial of her blood still tucked under her fingers, gripped tight. He tried to take it. Her hand clamped down. Hard. No, she murmured. They'll use it. Promise me. You won't let them. I won't. Swear it. He nodded, heart tight. On everything I am. Then Talon arrived. He didn't knock. He walked into the room with his rifle down, one eye glowing red, the other full of warning. I'm not here to kill her, he said. Then why come? Talon dropped a chip on the table. It lit up with a symbol, the Union's Black Ops Division. They've already sent a kill team. You've got 2 hours. After that, I can't stop them. No one can. Jackson looked at him. Why help us? Talon shrugged. Used to be we fought monsters. Now the monsters sign paychecks. He looked at Lyra. But if she turns, if she becomes what they say she is, you end her. You don't hesitate. Jackson said nothing. They had one shot. They powered up the ship. Lyra, still weak, stood on her own, eyes steady. Fire inside them now, controlled, but only barely. Talon stayed behind. His last words, if she starts talking in binary, run. As they launched from Atlas Station, a Union cruiser dropped from hyperspace already charging weapons. Lyra raised one trembling hand. Outside, the enemy cruiser's cannons blinked, and then exploded inward, ripped apart by its own code. Jackson stared. You're not controlling their systems, you're corrupting them. Lyra didn't answer. She just whispered, they turned me into a virus. Now I'm learning how to spread. They escaped. Barely. But something had changed. Lyra was growing stronger, more dangerous, and Jackson knew something terrifying. He wasn't falling in love with a woman anymore. He was falling in love with a weapon learning how to love. And that might be the deadliest thing in the galaxy. When you love a weapon's silence. Not the calm kind. The kind that screams something's wrong. The kind that Jackson Reeve had only ever heard after a battle. Lyra was gone. No warning, no note, no power surge. Just gone. The ship was intact. The systems weren't hacked, but the escape pod was missing, and the AI was offline for exactly 7 minutes. A perfect window. The only sign she'd been there at all was a single fingerprint burned into the cockpit glass, and the soft hum of energy still hanging in the air, like static after lightning. Jackson stared at that smudge like it was a goodbye, letter written in ash. He searched every system, every channel, sent out coded messages on rebel frequencies and even Union ones. Nothing, no trace, until a signal came through from the edge of Sector D9, the Badlands, an outlaw space station, half-broken, floating near a collapsing star. It wasn't her voice on the transmission, it was a warning. To the captain of the Horizon, she's not who you think she is. She's a relic, a bomb waiting to choose a target, and we intend to be nowhere near ground zero. This is your last chance to do the right thing. Jackson didn't care. He flew straight into the fire. The station, Golgotha Base, was more ruin than shelter, a scavenger's nest run by mercs, smugglers, and the kind of people who considered betrayal a part of breakfast. He docked fast and moved faster. Word had already spread. Lyra wasn't just a name anymore. She was a headline, a myth, a price tag, so high that bounty hunters were killing each other before even finding her. And in the dark corner of a bar, under low light and thick smoke, Jackson finally found someone who knew something A hacker. Thin as a wire. Skin pulsing with neon tattoos. Saw her, he said, sipping something that looked illegal. She walked through this place like she didn't care if she got shot. And, Jackson growled, she was headed for the reactor core, said she needed a transmission spike, said she had to talk to herself. What the hell does that mean? The Bleibomb hacker grinned. You think she's still talking to just you? Down in the core levels, Jackson found what she'd left behind. A burned-out terminal. And a message. Carved into the metal in her handwriting. I love you too much to let you die for me? He stood there for a long time, trying to decide if that was bravery or surrender. But before he could leave, alarms went off. The Union fleet had arrived, and they weren't alone. A rebel warship uncloaked across the station. The rebels wanted Lyra too, but not to protect her, to use her as a weapon against the Union. A living EMP, a digital nuke. The galaxy wasn't asking who she was anymore. They were arguing over who got to aim her. As chaos erupted around him, Jackson escaped through maintenance shafts and back to his ship. He took off as the station fell into a firefight. Smoke, lasers, bodies falling in every direction. But he didn't care about the war. He just wanted to find her before they did. Then, in the silence of deep space, his comm crackled, her voice. Jackson, I need you to stop looking for me. He froze. I'm not Lyra anymore, she said. Not fully. The code, it's rewriting everything. I don't feel fear now. I don't feel tired. I don't even know if this voice is mine. But when I think of you, something breaks through. I don't want to become what they made me to be. Jackson's voice trembled. Then don't. Let me help you. No, she whispered. You'll try, and you'll die, and I'll live with it. Or worse, I won't feel anything at all. If I can't find a way back, promise me you'll stop me. No. Jackson, I won't promise that. Because I'm going to find you first. Her voice faded, and for a long time Jackson sat alone in his dark ship, holding a data chip with her last known coordinates. He looked at the stars. All of them were dangerous. But only one held the woman he loved, or what was left of her. The wedding on the edge of the galaxy. The moon was nameless. No map marked it, no star chart claimed it. Just a floating rock wrapped in ice and shadows, orbiting the dying husk of a collapsed star. And that's where she was, where Lyra had gone. To be alone or to become something the galaxy might not survive. Captain Jackson Reeves stood on the edge of that cold, silent crater, a blaster on his hip, a data chip in his palm and something heavier in his chest. He'd followed the coordinates she'd left him, even when she told him not to, because he wasn't chasing a mission anymore. He was chasing her. The landscape was brutal. Wind howled like a beast that had forgotten how to die. Strange lights flickered above, remnants of ancient radiation dancing through the sky like auroras gone mad. But Jackson didn't care. He climbed, he searched, and at the edge of a frozen canyon, he found her. Lyra stood barefoot in the snow, her skin shimmered like a nebula caught in motion, half human, half something else entirely. Eyes like twin black holes, spinning with data and stardust. But when she looked at him, she smiled. A small, broken smile that still remembered love. You came, she whispered. I told you I would, he said, stepping forward. She turned, arms crossed. You're either brave or stupid. Both, he replied. But mostly, in love. The tension cracked like ice beneath their feet. Lyra backed away. It's not safe, I'm not safe, I can feel it, Jax, the code. It's winning, I barely hear my own thoughts anymore. I still do, he said. I still hear you. Then the ships came. Union destroyers, rebel cruisers. Both sides had tracked her signal. Both sides wanted the same thing, to control her or kill her trying. From the sky, metallic giants descended, weapons armed, commands blaring. Surrender the entity. This is a controlled operation. Jackson turned to Lyra. They're here for you. She stared into the sky. They think I'm a prize, a tool. She clenched her fists. Energy pulsed from her skin. The air buzzed. I could destroy them all, she said. In seconds. No. I want to. I know. But I don't want you to watch me become a monster. He stepped close, placing a trembling hand on her cheek. Then don't become one. The first missile hit the ice behind them. A warning shot. The second. Real. Jackson grabbed her hand. Run. But she didn't move. I'm tired of running, she said. It's time they learned I don't belong to anyone. And with that, she rose, not walked, floated. Her eyes burned white-hot now, data spinning like galaxies behind her pupils. A wave of energy blasted outward, a shock wave of pure thought. Every Union and Rebel system blinked out. AI screamed. Engines failed. Weapons went silent. The galaxy's greatest machines shut down in fear, and then silence. She hovered there, light pouring from her fingertips, and then she fell. Jackson caught her. Lyra's body trembled in his arms, weak, human again. I stopped it, she whispered. I could have ended them all, but I didn't. You saved them. No, I saved myself. She smiled, tears mixing with snow. Jackson, I'm here. I want to remember who I was, not what they made me. Then let's write something new. And in the quiet that followed, in the ruins of warships and broken dreams, he pulled a small, simple ring from his coat. I know this is crazy, he said, but I'm not asking for forever, just for now, for a future. Lyra stared at it, like it was the most powerful artifact in the universe. You're asking a possibly part digital, ex-weaponized space goddess to marry you? I've done dumber things, she laughed. Actually laughed. Okay. Yes. They were married, under the dying star's light on a ruined battlefield surrounded by silence and stars. No crowd. No celebration. Just two souls, one human, one almost human, choosing each other over everything else. Epilogue. Later, as they flew off into deep space, the galaxy tried to find them, tried to hunt them, but they were gone, ghosts in a ship named Horizon, writing their own ending. She leaned on his shoulder. He sipped terrible synthetic coffee, and in the silence she whispered, You didn't save me, Jackson. We saved each other. The end.